Welcome.
All right, I invite you to just maybe notice where your attention is being called in this moment. Whether it's anything inside you, just starting to notice, where is my attention at in this moment? Or maybe something outside. Even as I'm asking this question, I'm noticing there's shifts. There's a shift in my attention. As I can see the cloud from my window, clouds floating by, it reminded me of this analogy that is it okay for us just to notice our attention can shift from one thing to the other, the ebbs and flows, without us trying to do anything. I invite you to just let go of trying, just to notice, where does my attention flow to the next or stay where it is? Now, I would like you to open your eyes if your eyes were closed and tune your attention to the screen, to this meeting, to this virtual space we are in. And notice how we have the ability to redirect our attention. And how does that feel? What are you noticing as you intentionally moved your attention to focus on one thing? In the moment, I'm going to say some words. I invite you to just notice however these words land in you. All parts of you are welcome here. All parts of you are welcome here. Just notice whether there's some resistance or whether it feels so good, whether some part of you want to hear more. Just notice. Take your time. Then when you are ready, I invite you to come back to this virtual space or blocks of our Zoom meeting. Anyone wants to check in? How was it like for you?
It was very calming. I felt like it was such a rush to log on this morning, and I was logging on late. And just being able to do some mindfulness and the all parts of you are welcome, it felt like just a hug, like a giant hug. So that's very nice. Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
I felt very relaxed too. I thought maybe I might take a nap and not come back, but I decided I better come back. And so
You know, when you invited us to open our eyes, I realized that on the phone, the three of you are together in a nice little group, and I'm down in the corner, and I want to bring my picture up and join the group. That's what I noticed. So I'm like, I wonder if anybody knows how I can take my picture up there in the gallery. Because, you know, on your laptop, everything's a gallery.
yeah.
Right in. And on my phone, I'm down in the corner, and I'm like, and I'm such a connection person. I realized that it was like, oh, I want to join the group.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And as I'm hearing that, I want to offer a solution.
Phone like sideways. Let's see. Nope. Sideways doesn't do it. It turns me, but it doesn't turn you guys. Okay. All right.
Well,
this
just know that you're part of the group.
Okay.
Yeah. Our visual does convey so much more than just visual information.
Yeah. Totally.
I did not actually prepare anything, just as I said, okay, feels like a mindfulness exercise would be needed. Just when we started, I'm noticing a little bit headache. And as I was inviting me too, to notice my attention already being, oh, yeah, I can see outside the window and notice, oh, I am not as focused as the headache anymore. How is that? Just such a simple or it's just very telling moment. So that's where I was where I was at leading the mindfulness. I needed that. Alrighty. I think this is gonna be my last meeting with you guys.
We're going to miss you.
And
I'm going.
I got
Great.
this whole meeting.
You can. I mean,
True.
so you'll be getting your own group after this, Liz.
Yes, there's excitement of that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So let's just enjoy this meeting. Have what we have this month. First we go over the videos. You practice. Who wants to go first?
I can go first this time, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. We'll just dive in. I guess, do you want me to show you a video then? We diving in? Okay.
You pause it, your high water marks or low water marks or whatever watermarks.
Whatever marks. And I want to know what your remarks are. So let me share my screen with you. Okay. So I'm going to go with what I feel I can improve. So the low water mark. We're gonna go to about 5 minutes in. And let's see, 5:52. Would you like some backstory? Maybe kind of bring you up to speed. So we were going into phase 8 after we had done the future template. And one of the things that I had recalled is that you guys had mentioned not to bring up the specific memories, but to allow them to bring up the memories. And I brought up the memories from what I recall. So let me make sure that this is the right spot. I think I may have gone a little too far.
Did you share the sound? Oh, yeah, I can hear now.
Can you hear it? Okay. For some reason, I feel like I wrote down the wrong
But as I
time.
was just, I'm noticing at first I was feeling that anxiety, but as I was just thinking about that,
Sorry, ladies. I wrote down the time, but now I'm questioning the time that I wrote down. So give me just a second.
Are you looking for phase 3?
When we're going into phase 8,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Let's see where this takes us. Okay. What are you noticing now?
I just feel really calm and comforted.
Great. That's great. Okay. And then I would just like to see on a scale of 1 to 7 how true the words "I'm lovable as I am" feel to me.
I would say a 7.
7?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Let's notice that.
Erica,
Now I would like to
Yes?
invite you to think
I
about.
think you might have the correct timestamps. This is the old video.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Like, this doesn't sound right to me. Let me get the right video up. That would help us a lot. Okay. This was the old future desired to. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Here we go. Can you still see my screen?
Good morning, Clover.
Good
Yes.
morning.
And you're seeing that? Okay. This will make a world of difference. Okay.
Can you make the screen bigger?
Yes, definitely. Okay. So we should be going back into phase 8 on this one. Young girl, and you have bleached the sink. Do you feel that there's any other memories that are coming up for you?
There's not any other memories coming up, but I can tell it still feels a little bit disturbing to me.
Okay, so it sounds like it still has a charge for you. So I guess right there. So that's where I was like, I think I was trying to catch myself a little bit in like, oh, do you have any other memory? Like what's coming up for you after I'd already brought up the memory. And so I just wanted some feedback on that. When we're going after the future template, where are we going? Like when we go into phase 8, how can I more smoothly make that transition?
Okay. So I'm hearing, I wonder if I'm hearing 2 questions. One
Okay.
question is the overall process from future desired states to what's next.
Mhm.
I can answer that quite easily right now. You did the right, yeah, you followed the right thing. You have future desired states, then you have all the materials put into treatment plan.
Mhm.
Then what to do next is the earliest targets you're still working on, right? Go
Uh-huh.
right back, reeval, and go into reprocessing.
Okay.
So you did just that.
Wait, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Then I'm hearing a second question, just about phase A. How much do you ask, or how much if you is
Yeah.
that the question?
So I guess the question is it not, so I brought up the touchstone memory to go back to in phase 8. And that's what I'm wondering if I did that incorrectly. Should I not bring up that touchstone and just say, what is coming up for you now?
I would maybe usually the way I just ask, do you remember what we worked on last time?
Bingo. That's what I'm looking for.
If they
Okay.
don't, then you do need to bring some information. Oh, that's around age 3 or around age school. I want to give as little as possible.
Okay. Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to know.
Mhm.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. And then I guess I'll go to the next one that I was looking at. I remember one of my feedback forms was to really try to be more present. And I think there is, through this experience, I noticed in me like being a little bit more cautious or really wanting to get it right since we didn't get it right last time. And so found myself not being very present in maybe the first parts of it. Anyway, so then I was just really trying to find a video where I was present, or I felt like I was coming across more present, to say, okay, hey, I was really trying for this. And I think I finally got it towards the end when I'm a little more comfortable with phase 8. And so I think that's kind of where it's showing up. So I went into, oh, we might have already gone over it. So let's see. There we go.
There's not any other memories coming up, but I can tell it still feels a little bit disturbing to me.
Okay, so it sounds like it still has a charge for you.
Mhm.
Okay. So what is the image that is the worst part of this memory for you now?
The look of disappointment on my mother's face.
Okay. What emotions are you feeling now?
Just a lot of just pain, just sadness.
Yeah, sadness. Okay.
Mhm.
So on a scale from 0 to 10, how disturbing does that feel to you now?
I'd probably say a 6 or a 7. Yeah.
Okay. 6 or 7. Okay, bring up that memory, notice where you feel it, that disturbance in your body, and then when you're ready, go ahead and follow my fingers, okay? You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Anyway, it's kind of where I'm at. And I would love some feedback because I know that the whole video was far from perfect. So I'm ready to hear.
What tells you that?
What tells me that is that when we had this window of time to do the beginning part of the future template, I think I was feeling rushed. Or no, maybe it wasn't this time.
It's good to
I
see
think
you too.
mostly I was just uncomfortable with it because it was new and I'd only like run through it like maybe one time before. And
So what tells you that?
what tells me that?
What tells you that you felt right?
Answer? Maybe.
Hmm?
I said my answer, maybe.
Okay, awareness of your answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's like what tells us that we're experiencing something? Is it a somatic feeling? Is it a thought? Is it an emotion? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was
Mm.
the thoughts and the emotions. Like, oh, Clover did that really well. I hope I can do it just as well. So maybe part of my compare and compete syndrome comes in.
I kind of feel like when you say that, Erica, I feel pressure
Uh,
in my body, like pressure, like something pushing. I don't know if that is
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I can feel a pressure kind of like in my chest or my head, kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what would you like to give that? What would you like to give that pressure?
Some release, some like,
Mhm.
hey, you did your best. You tried. You at least tried.
Can you even go further than that?
You gave
Can you
it
be,
your, you
you
gave it
be
your best. Yes.
more
Um,
compassionate?
yeah. Let's see. Glad you showed up. I don't know if this is gonna get more compassionate or not. Because I think I'm feeling pressure now.
You notice that you're trying to do the compassion right. It's like, what is
Exactly.
what does she want?
Exactly. Man, I want to get this right. Man, I want to do that right. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
it's
My answer is right here.
right. Yeah. It's interesting how we all play off of each other. Like what I want to give you is I want you to have this sense of I am enough just as I am. I am learning. I am doing.
Yeah.
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 I was just wondering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
That is exactly, you're spot on. That's what's going on for me is got to give myself some space to be able to learn and grow, even when it's uncomfortable.
And to be enough,
Yeah,
even when it's uncomfortable and you're learning,
it's enough. That's enough.
just as it is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What are you noticing, Liz?
I'm really having a hard time to tune into this. I wanted to stop the video sharing and tried and couldn't.
Oh, do you want me to
And
stop the share?
I was trying to, is this a good spot to interrupt? Can we, can I ask Erica? So that my attention was pulled. That's where my attention was pulled. And just with the partial attention, I did notice a little of the answers getting um, butting heads or getting tangled up. Yeah. I wonder, Erica, um, if how does it if coming here or presenting or reviewing does does this feel does the pressure feel present or does it feel like familiar?
Say that again. Does it feel
I
present
wonder,
or familiar, like
maybe
from the past?
I have I'm very aware I sometimes compound so many questions in.
That's okay. I I do it too.
As for the pressure, I wonder, coming here, present, and asking for feedback or receiving feedback, this format or this setting, does the pressure feel present as we go through this process?
Yeah, I think it feels very present. I think I'm feeling, it's a vulnerable thing to be showing your work and not being sure, right? Am I going to be safe? Is the feedback going to be, am I going to be cared for showing that and having this experience? Is it going to be a safe feedback? I guess is kind of my response.
Yeah, yeah. Does it feel familiar?
Yes,
Right.
it shows up in different areas of life from other, I think, people in my life, other experiences.
How far back can you relate to? When did that little girl or kid start to feel this way?
I think quite young, probably like 5 or 6.
Was the pressure adaptive in a way for that 5 or 6-year-old?
Yeah, definitely.
How did it help?
It kept me safe.
Oh, yeah, yeah. A little more prepared or a little pressure on yourself, and so you don't get hurt or um, put down or whatever by other people. Is that a fair guess?
Yeah,
Can you appreciate that for that little girl? What that answer was doing for that little girl?
definitely.
Yeah. So the nature of trauma memories is that the trauma is stored without a time tag. So a part of you probably still are holding on to that protection. I have to be here. Right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So string them together. Can you appreciate the pressure?
Definitely. I think, I mean, you don't really want to, but but
Yeah,
you can because
where it started and
you're like,
what
okay,
it wants to do for you. Yeah.
right.
And that's the beginning of self-compassion, right? We see how it was adaptive for that little girl, and it worked for many, many years, probably.
Right.
And maybe take a little deep breath and look at these 4 boxes on your screen after you take a deep breath. Can I do a fact check? Is this situation safe enough for me to be vulnerable?
Yeah, I think, Clover's definitely my safe place a lot of the time. And then knowing that Linda and Liz, that you've been here for me in these last, sessions, and knowing that you're here to guide and to support and not to, your intent's not to put me down or belittle, but it's to help me to grow and to learn and to become better.
Okay. With this new information, is it okay to have a little conversation with pressure? We're safe. Is it okay? Take a seat. Or
Calm
take
down.
a nap.
You go over there and have the nap that I wanted earlier. And then okay,
How do you feel now?
good. Good.
Next meeting is I'm not here yet. I can almost see you are going to have a different experience with the meeting or with preparation with coming to the meeting. Linda, can I share with them about the Doraemon experience just really quickly? I went 2 meetings with you guys and I couldn't do my reflection paper. I was having such a hard time being just so self-critical. So I reached out to Linda finally and we met and I realized that even though I know from here she's the safe person, she's the resource person for me, yet part of my system just felt like all the years of going through exams and being supervised by teachers and looked over my shoulders. I felt Linda somehow. I couldn't quite relax. The 2 meetings, I can't, yeah, just didn't flow. Linda was right there, guided me through this process. So I tapped and tingling, all that release. Then by the end, I had a image of seeing Linda as my um, it's it's borrowed from a Japanese cartoon character. She's just my big buddy that has all the tools she can pull out to help me. And
Love.
my sense of coming to the meeting and be in the meeting has changed ever since that.
Awesome.
So Linda is my Doraemon.
That's awesome. Love that.
Happy to be your Doraemon at any point. Yeah. Yeah, nice work. Just kind of trying to understand what's in the present moment. And, for me, it's like where the wild things are. And we think our answer is the wild things that we have to tame or destroy or get rid of or control. And really, when Max goes across the ocean and meets the wild things, he becomes their friend. He befriends them. And then he parties with them and learns to appreciate them. And then when he realizes that he can leave those wild things behind, he gets in his boat and he goes back home where his dinner is waiting for him. And so for me, my answer is kind of like the wild things. I try to befriend and be kind and appreciate when it comes up, but also to just say, it's okay. I'm okay. I know you're not going to hurt me. You're just trying to help. So I can kind of work with my system a little bit, just like Max did.
Yeah.
And every now and then I like to raise my hands and say, be still.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anything else you need from your video, or it's probably time we move on to Clover?
I guess my one thing that I would ask is just, I don't know if you two were able to watch the video, but I guess just some reassurance that I got it right.
Okay, so I'm going to ask permission to offer something.
Please.
Okay, so the one thing that I would offer to just be aware of is before you start doing the bilateral, possibly think about, do I need to ask a question? Are you ready? Because when we ask a question, we're pulling back into the thinking brain.
Right.
And I would offer, I wonder what it would be like for you to ask, what are you noticing now? Okay, just, or to be able to say, okay, I'd like you to bring up that image along with that emotion, notice where you're feeling it in your body and follow my finger.
Okay. I like that. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you both.
All right,
Take it, Clover.
Clover, you're up.
All right. I will share the screen, share sound, pull up the video. Okay, can you all see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and start with a spot where I gave myself a pat on the back. Let's start with that. Okay, so right here. And as you think about last Wednesday and not hearing from your boyfriend and having no communication and not feeling enough in the relationship, how would you like to be able to react, feel, or behave in the future?
I think I would like to realize that like I am enough, that I deserve to have someone show up for me. And if he can't, that's okay. But that I don't have to keep, if he's not showing up in the way that he needs to, then I can move on. And I'll be okay.
Okay. Very good. So how you'd like to feel, react, or behave in the future. It sounds a lot of that recognizing you're enough, being able to feel that you deserve to have someone show up for you, and it's going to be okay, that you'll be okay, regardless of how. Yes, okay.
And I'm okay. I'm still valuable and lovable.
Great. Okay, so this one is twofold. I noticed that when I was going through this with her, where I gave myself a pat on the back was I was reflecting back what I was hearing, but I was definitely noticing my answers showing up. And I was wanting to kind of dig in a little bit deeper as to how specifically she'd want to react, like what that would look like. So I also wanted to open that up and see if that's something that I could explore a little bit more. Because I noticed I didn't know if this was right. I thought maybe we need to be more specific. Because I remember last time when we were talking about it, Liz, you were giving these examples of like what you would physically do, like what would I see the client doing differently in that situation. So I think I was hearing a lot of the feelings, but I wasn't hearing a lot of like how she would react or what she would do differently. So I didn't correct, even though I desperately wanted to dive in and ask more. But I also wanted to just open that up. Is that appropriate? Like, is that okay for me to just be curious and say, I wonder how specifically you'd want to react next time in the future. I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to open that up too.
Um, I wanted to say first, good noticing. Right? It's just a split second moment. All this was going on, and these present moment awareness, you are really able to hone in and being aware of what's going on in you. If you are fully in tune, if like 10% of your capacity is going on something else, very good. That's a sign you are really getting the present moment awareness, um, mindfulness. The answer is, I think you you trust your clinical judgment. There's no absolute. You how specific you want to get to. Um, this is my opinion. This part for a lot of clients, real clients, they can't get very concrete things yet because they have so much they need to work through the past from the past to even start to envision a different future. And I see the suicidal kids or people. I never thought I would live beyond this age, and they can't imagine. So really
Oh, okay.
depend on the clients and know this future desired state as much as we would like them to give a vivid or specific vision. It might not be attainable for every client.
Okay. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And maybe one thing is the specificity more applies to the future template. If we have a specific situation, we want to use the future template to work on.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Then we'll
That
drill it
makes
down to
sense.
have more specifics.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That makes sense. Thank you, Liz.
Okay.
Um, the other thing that I noticed, because uh I'm very self-critical, but I was noticing that, this is the part where I wanted to show that my answer showed up and I just continued and didn't want to interrupt and have my answer interrupt. But I'm also noticing as I'm watching this just now, I'm still thinking of ways that I could improve because I'm looking at myself in this video going, I am not making eye contact with her. Like I am making so many notes, wanting to make sure I get it all down, all written down, that I can imagine she may not be feeling that I'm as present with her. I mean, I'm just not making that eye contact. So that's good for me to notice even in this moment, because I do want her to be able to feel like I can be present with her while also getting the information. The other
Maybe
part is, yes, yes, Liz.
I wonder, maybe we could take a feedback from the client.
Oh, very good, very good.
Oh, well, it's been a minute since we did it, and I don't know. I didn't notice you not being present with me. I felt like you were present with me.
Okay.
Something that comes up for me as you're talking about this is that it seems like it's a hard balance where it's scripted to have. Is it realistic to have full contact all the time, eye contact all the time? And I don't know. I don't think it totally is unless you have the script memorized. So I think you did well for the way it goes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Guys are very good to me. That feels very reassuring.
Yeah, I think
Thank
you
you.
were great.
Because Erica, I'd want to be present with you. So
Well, I
thank
felt
you.
like you were, so I don't recall feeling that you left me alone in the process.
Okay.
So I think I definitely remember that.
Okay, here is a feedback. I didn't feel like you were not present, and maybe this could be a little mini conversation with our self-critique.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I know mine is pretty strong a lot of times, and that was probably developed as a necessity.
Yes, definitely.
And right now, where I'm at, that part of me can take some breaks. Doesn't have to work that hard.
I love that. Liz, even as I hear you say that, those words, I'm just even noticing like my whole system kind of like just was able to breathe deeper. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
The last thing I was going to share was a spot where I realized I had a little moment of panic, and I'll show you that spot. Let's see. Right in around Susie in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering for you, is that still disturbing for you? Does it still hold a charge?
Yes.
Okay. And did you notice any other memories come up for you since we processed last time? Okay. Then what I'd like to do is we'll go ahead and revisit that memory. But first, let me make sure and let you pick the color you want. So this is my moment of panic because I realized I had gone into phase 8 without reviewing the mechanics. And that's when I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to hurry and fix this. And so I wanted to hurry and review the mechanics and then revisit and try to heighten the emotion, the memory again, and then jump into reprocessing. But that was definitely my moment of panic. So anyways.
That's the most wonderful mistake to make. It's the most wonderful mistake because do you think you'll do it again?
No.
Of course not.
And you are not alone. I
Yeah.
probably, some point last week made one time too.
Right.
Depends on the days, depends on the clients. It's just a lot to check in, or yet you remember it better now.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's so wonderful that you saw it.
Yes.
That's the important part, is that, oh crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great job. Thing.
Yeah. With a little humor, you are working with your self-critique. I can make mistakes, help me learn. Right.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I really appreciate how reassuring you all are, and just helping me kind of feel that compassion when I have a hard time giving myself that compassion. So thank you very much.
Can I say one more thing? Just
Yes.
overall, this month, when I looked at the transcript, and saw the video, for several times I said, I'm gonna send an email before our meeting. That's part of my answer popping up. And part of it, okay, I was just trying to notice what's going on with me. Part of it, all other life things going on. And, um, I heard at the very end the both of you is, oh, that's all for the assignment. Should we stop? Should we continue? And both of you actually had memories and targets that opened up. Um, I wonder what they stopped you from just having a full session with each other. Now I'm seeing, this is my observation, maybe part of that homework assignment mentality. I submit I what I was asking for. I wonder if that was it.
Yes. Liz, I think it was definitely that because I was remembering, I think it was a couple meetings ago that Linda had made a comment about how we're doing, like we're practicing, we're not actually doing therapy. And so that's what came to my mind. I thought, oh, okay, I don't want to go into a therapy session. So that's why I went ahead and stopped it. And then what you didn't see was after I stopped the video, I was like, Erica, are you okay? Do we need to do a grounding exercise? Just
Well, that brings up an important point. I mean, with any of these exercises, after you do reprocessing, you always want to do some type of grounding exercise. It might not have been in your assignment, but your clinical judgment, if someone's still, you run out of time, you haven't cleared the memory, make sure you do some type of resource at the end of a session, and feel free to tape that because that's a part of your demonstration of doing the phases. Resourcing is a big piece of it. So
okay, great.
just to clarify.
Great. No, I appreciate that clarification. I'll just
Yeah.
leave it recording next time. That's great.
I wonder, can I also clarify with you, Linda? It's a option, the participant, is it an option, the participants, if they want to go into reprocessing, if they feel comfortable with each other? Or
Absolutely, absolutely, but there's no requirement of that. So you're not, it's not considered therapy. We don't want to say it's going to be therapy because it is practice. But if people want to take the opportunity to do some reprocessing on their own memories, this is a wonderful opportunity to do it in a safe environment. And I've always emphasized that as a consultant, I'm not evaluating the client role in this. I'm looking at the person who's doing therapy to see if they're demonstrating competence in the phase. And so, and our job is to support that, not to be critiquing, but to be supporting the development of competence in all 8 phases. So, but it isn't considered therapy. Otherwise, we'd need informed consent. I mean, that's totally your personal growth or transformation through this is optional. You know, you take advantage of it, then that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
it was wonderful for me.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate that we want to make it clear there's no expectation or requirement for that to happen because
And you will find with your groups, Liz, that some people will feel safe enough to reprocess during their practice sessions, and some people will not. So they will stay with current memories, even though you may want to start with a touchstone, they may not want to reprocess their touchstone. And so that's not a requirement. But just so that the clinician knows that the phase is to start with the touchstone. But they may not do that with their partner, but they need to be doing that with their clients.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, break.
Sounds good.
Right.
We'll come back in 10 minutes, 12:13.
Right.
Okay.
Recording. Welcome to the second half.
So before I forget, and because we want to have a little time to say goodbye to Liz at the end, I just want to give you your assignment for next time. Okay. So we'll do a consult, of course, but then your video assignment is to start with the mechanics, just a brief summary of the mechanics, and then start with phase 8, and then go right into whether or not it was, if it was a finished memory, then you go to the next memory in chronological order. If you did not finish the memory, you restart that previous memory. and see how far you can get. And remember to always offer a resource at the end of your reprocessing before closure.
Okay. So I want to just recap that. So mechanics, then go into phase 8, and then go into reprocessing, and then if needs be, do a resource.
Yes, that is it.
Great.
Okay, great.
Oh, and see what you can learn about yourself in that whole process.
We like that.
Yeah, you're not just dipping your toes in it anymore. You're a full all in.
We're immersed.
All right. Who would like to go with the case consultation?
Erica, do you have a preference?
I don't have a preference. I can go first, or you can. What would you prefer?
I don't care. I can dive in if you want.
Go for it.
Okay. Let me go ahead and pull up my case consult sheet. Do you want me to share the screen with that, or do you want me to just go off of it?
Oh, it'll probably be too hard for Linda to read on the screen. Just go.
Oh, okay.
You have it. Go.
Okay, great. So, this client, he's endured some betrayal trauma with his wife's affair. And he also has a history of not feeling good enough in his relationship with his parents. So he was explaining to me that his parents would withdraw love whenever he made a mistake. So his answer that shows up is definitely that anxiety, but that people-pleasing answer, that he's got to get it. He's got to get it right. He really struggles with feeling like he's not enough. And what he hopes for is that through EMDR, he'll be able to see that he can feel it in his body and not just in his mind, that he is enough to be loved, even when he makes mistakes, which is absolutely beautiful. Because he was explaining to me that he can tell himself that, like he can feel that in his mind, but he has a hard time feeling it in his body. So he wants those to be interrelated. He wants to be able to feel both, that he's just really enough to be loved, even when he makes mistakes. And then he's also hoping that he will increase in his ability to emotionally regulate and self-soothe when triggers in the relationship with his wife or parents arise. So that's a little bit of background on him. Definitely where I'm feeling a little bit challenged. It's not so much with the client as much as I am with the logistics. So this client is over Zoom. And when we went through all the different mechanics, he wanted to do the butterfly tap for the bilateral stimulation. And just with the way things are on Zoom, he's closing his eyes, he's doing the butterfly tap, and I'll just say pause to pause the tapping. But sometimes there's like a delay with the internet, or sometimes when we're reprocessing, the internet will freeze. This last time he had one of his kiddos walk into the room, and so it was just really challenging. And I wanted to open that up and just see what tips and tricks you ladies had about that, because I know we need to heighten the emotion. And as soon as that kiddo walked in, it was like, how do we get back to where we were and get back to reprocessing this? Because it was a great distraction, as kids are. But anyway, so I was thinking about that. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, I'm going through my notes here. The other thing I wanted to mention is that this client has also shared with me that he has ADHD. And so he has a hard time staying focused. And so I don't know, I just wanted to open up with tips and tricks with ADHD as well, because I'm just going through it like like I do with every client, but I'm wondering if there's some sort of adjustment that should be made if there's ADHD involved, if there's a tip or trick there. So, yeah.
Linda, I'll go ahead and feel free to add. Well, first I want to say I love that when you first just giving some backgrounds and you use the answer um, uh, through the answer lens and go right back to how he's family of origin. The answer
Mhm.
was adaptive, so that it just becomes part of you as you learn this model. It's not necessarily have to be EMDR clients or others, but it makes sense, right?
Mhm.
The first question with mechanics and the setting, home setting. So you can always have these conversations when interruptions happen, or even before you get into it. When would be a really good time that you can have an uninterrupted session. Um, One is a time that you have a session, even with lingering whatever vulnerable feelings, you could have space for yourself. Take a nap or go out for a walk, or don't not instead of in the middle of the day you have to go back to work or to for all the responsibilities. And we try to predict. This is the prediction part of at the bottom of the answer. What you're good at, what is difficult for you to do, and we try. The prediction is we some of these answers is probably giving other people's needs higher priority than his own, right?
Mhm.
Um, then one of the predictions that he would schedule therapy or he would move things around and he would not fully or he it's hard for him. We don't we see it as again with the language we use with the answer. It's so good for him to take care of others or be please others. It's so hard, difficult for him to block out time, leave enough space and time for himself. So these conversations we can have definitely before, yet throughout the process, we might need to have again. And I use that as an opportunity to deepen the conversation with the client. Wow, you are really good at immediately present yourself all together, no emotions, and just ready uh, to accommodate whatever other people need from you. Did that just happen a split second? How this has been part of you for so long, and you are just extremely good. This ability to just cut off whatever is here for you, push it all down, and immediately switch to a different mode to accommodate what do you need from me and what, right? This happens, this interruption is a great opportunity to deepen our conversation, deepen it. It's actually an experiential way of seeing how their answers.
I
So,
love that, Liz. I love that. Thank
and,
you.
and being reinforced,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. The reprocessing was paused. Yeah, these are further preparations along the way.
Mhm.
Um, just there's never a client fully completely prepared and you anticipate everything. And along the way, the 8 phases are not linear. You have run into something, you go back to reprocessing preparation, or okay, something is is interrupting, and this is an opportunity for us to prepare better.
I love that. That's great. Thank you.
With the ADHD question, I see ADHD for the most part as a answer, and the conceptualization I have is for a little kid, especially a little kid. We all have our attention, this life goes on, has to rest on something. If things happen, it's too scary to tune into what you are feeling now or don't feel safe. And outside is chaotic or whatever, it's too dangerous, too hard to tune your attention onto the environment. What do you do with this excessive attention? The kids get up and down, get into all drawers, or run around. This attention has to find a place to go. And when they are running around, they don't have to think about the hard things. That was such a helpful solution, right out of no solution. Then as we are working with them, I wonder if distraction is here trying to help with something. Difficult or uncomfortable feelings coming up, or memories getting too hard. There are quite lots of experiences with shortening the set. Instead of going on 25, 30, stop at 20, 18, shorter to keep them on. In person, you have other ways to kind of enhance the connection, but virtual, you can shorten that, and just continue to welcome and appreciate. And it's okay if you are somewhere else, that's a perfect answer. That's information, good information. Instead of, they might feel a lot of shame around their ADHD, blame over the years they can't stay focused, they are absent or whatever. So this is us providing the safe, different experience.
Love that. Love that. No, that's really good. I like bringing in just welcoming that part. And also, I didn't know that it was okay for me to go ahead and shorten the DAS, being able to shorten if it's 18 or 20 or something like that, being able to shorten how often we do DAS. So that's good. That's good to know too. So thank you.
You could even have this conversation with them. Okay, we could have maybe try the shorter, so we don't give the distraction too much time to build a little tolerance at the time, and you can stay on. I even have one kid we call distraction Mr. D, and the kid would draw how Mr. D looks like, what yeah, all the things Mr. D likes to do. We appreciate that. Then to a point, the kid would tell me, I think Mr. D is here. I don't think we can get into a Target today. Mr. D is really loud. And that's okay too.
I love that. I love that. It's great.
Linda, would you like to add something? Anything?
You know, I think all of that is really important, and it's a wonderful way to, you know, kind of conceptualize it. I don't really worry too much about ADHD or depression or bipolar or whatever the symptoms are. I use the protocol and trust the protocol to just stay present and to notice whatever is present. And so it's like, for me, it's a no fail therapy. So if the internet disconnects, we just have the plan already pre-made that we come back together, and then I just go right back to the target. So when you go back to that original memory, what are you noticing now? Because it's after the disconnect. I don't talk about the disconnect. I don't, nothing, because that's how we prepare ourselves for virtual work. We talk with our clients about, let's put our plan together for what happens if we get disconnected, or if there's kind of a slow lag, you know. So if there's a lag between me saying, okay, let's pause, what are you noticing now? And then there's a lag, I just wait for it. It's like, just notice, oh, there's a lag, okay, it'll catch up, you know. So it's like whatever's happening now is okay, that's what we're doing. And so we just notice it. And then if we need to go back to the target, we go back to the target, just as if we've gotten off base for some other reason, like the
Sure.
siren by in the window or whatever. So, and I don't count my passes ever. I think that as you do more and more EMDR, you follow the client and you notice somatically what's going on. You begin to notice where they're really reprocessing, and all of a sudden they'll stop following, and I just keep going, and then all of a sudden they'll start reprocessing again, and the eyes will start going, and then I'll wait for like some indication of there's a pause, like a big sigh, or they start blinking, or there's something that happens somatically that tells me to check in. And so that's why we want to have this present moment mindfulness where we can be noticing what's happening somatically, emotionally, physically, whatever with the client while they're reprocessing, that tells us maybe time to check in. So when you first start practicing, it can be helpful to count, because then you can, you know, go a certain number and then can check in. But as you practice more, I would prefer to have you just there, noticing what's happening in the moment, not counting, not, yeah.
That's good.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. That's good.
Yeah. Do you mind if I chime in with a question based kind of going back onto this, the reprocessing?
Not at all. Go ahead.
Um, Something that I've noticed that I've been curious about, there's all these different ways, right? You can do a light bar, have them follow a light bar. You can have like them follow on the screen, the dots, or you can have the tappers, right? And so
Right.
I'm just wondering, is it worth invest? Like, does one work more effectively than the other? Is it worth spending the money to get those other devices, or is it is it good enough to just keep doing the fingers and the tapping? Because I mean, that's more efficient for the budget, but I was just curious what your thoughts are.
Well, the majority of the research on EMDR has been done with eye movement, and they are now doing more and more research on different methods. But so we know that the eye movements are effective. We also have research that's starting to show that other forms of bilateral stimulation are effective. So I think that for me, I had to be very aware of what was most helpful for my clients, and it differed from client to client. I started out using the tappers a lot, but then I found that I liked being closer to my clients and using the eye movements myself, and that if I did them correctly, my arm did not tire to a point where I could not do the eye movements with my arm. But I've had people in my practice that only use the light bar. You know, I found the light bar too far away. I had to focus on the light bar, doing things with it where I couldn't watch my client as clearly. But I'm not at this point, I don't think we have a definitive study that says which method works the best. What we do is have a lot of research on the eye movements. So you have to kind of find, that some clients couldn't use the buzzers because it reminded them of their cell phone. It's like, they just didn't like that feeling.
Yeah.
People that had vertigo, I would use the tapping on the thighs, or, because of any medical conditions that might affect the eye or the ear. So I don't think there's a definitive answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't really need to be like so worried about like getting those other equipments because the hand movements is very sufficient.
Yeah.
I think, majority of the clients probably would work either eye movement or tapping.
Yeah. And I actually have noticed that I really, like you're saying, Linda, it sounds like you like that feeling of feeling connected with them while you're in the room. And I've noticed that like when they're doing the butterfly, that I'm like, I'm feeling a little of a disconnect for myself. So like, and noticing like, I really do like being able to feel like I'm connecting and a part of that process to support them. But I've also noticed too, in some ways, that as I've gotten more comfortable with the butterfly and them doing it, that it's like, oh, okay, I can relax. I can actually like just watch what's going on for them and then be present that way and connect that way. But
Just do a lot of it. Just do a lot of EMDR with your clients, and that will just come. The method that you find most effective for which clients will just present itself.
okay,
We're going to need to move on
great.
to Erica. Thanks.
So let's see, I'll pull up my consult form. So this particular case, I've just started working with this client. I think the one that I went over was just the very first session with her. So we were working on the history taken in the preparation phase. She, in the past, she's felt unsafe with her spouse because of the way that she's learned to be a people pleaser to kind of to create that safety with her husband. And so she's felt unsafe in the past, and she's longing to feel that safety and connection and feel safe to have a voice. And so and I guess the experience that she expressed to me is that they've done couples counseling. And so now she's noticing that as her husband's making these improvements, he's done well to maintain those improvements and recognizing himself. Like he's trying so hard to keep everybody safe that he's controlling to the point that he's controlling the situation. And so then she feels like she can't really have her own say in her opinion. And so now that it is safer to do that, she's noticing herself not being able to trust that. And so as part of EMDR, we're trying to help her to reprocess those memories of feeling unsafe and whatnot. The thing that I have noticed for me in doing work with her is my answer of wanting to get things right. Because part of me is like, I'm not quite sure if I am doing enough preparation for my clients. And because I feel like sometimes I notice and I'm like, oh, if they seem to be ready to go, like we'll do a pendulation and then, or we'll do some resources, kind of looking at what they do well and what they don't. And so part of me is like, I don't know if I want to, I don't want to drag this process on too long, but then I don't want to, I guess, trying to find that balance of how much preparation do we do with this client? And maybe it's more so using my clinical judgment with the client. But I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
I'm curious, as you're asking that question, What do you notice? Do you notice anything in yourself bringing up that concern?
Like I really want to show up and be there and take care of my client. I want to get it right. And I just really care about her. And I want to make sure that she feels that safety because that's, she's not felt safe in certain situations. That's really what we're looking at, right? Is feeling that safety for her.
Yeah. Is there a little pressure wanting to do it right?
Yeah, I mean, there's pressure. I don't know if I feel a pressure more so. I feel like I'm feeling more of an activation.
Okay, motivated one.
I'm motivated. I want to get in there and let's get this. Maybe let's get it done. Pardon me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Wanting to be prepared, wanting to do know enough or good enough and
Yeah.
to see clearly where we go from
I
here.
want to help. I'm a helper.
Yeah.
Right?
Lovely. That's so lovely.
That's lovely. And this has been really helpful for you, right?
Yeah.
Something about safety, though, Erica. That's what you said. There's something about safety that is you're noticing a bit of activation around that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just want to wrap her up in bubble wrap.
Okay. Notice that. Yeah. Got any bubble wrap in your office?
No, unfortunately, I don't. And in fact, that might feel suffocating to her, so maybe that might not be a good plan.
Yeah. I wonder if she wants that.
What was that?
I wonder if she wants that. I wonder if she would like to be wrapped in bubble wrap.
No, she wouldn't, because I think that would just be too suffocating.
Okay.
So I think I need to just relax, step back, and just notice that, me showing up for her when she shows up in the office, that's and providing space for her to talk is enough safety. So just me being there and present with her is going to be enough.
Holding space. Sometimes it's hard for us to experience that holding space is really a powerful factor with someone being able to start healing. If you can just hold space for them to be however they need to be at that moment, in whatever phase they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I'm a doer, so of course I want to do something.
Yeah.
But I can, recognize that holding space is doing something really important.
Mm-hmm.
It's really doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the other thing that visualization comes to mind just as we're talking about this is that kind of putting myself in her shoes, like walking in, what is it that I would want? And I remember something that for me doing my own work was super helpful. It was just knowing that I could go somewhere and tell my story and they're not going to have their 2 cents. They're not going to be like, oh, it's more like no judgment, right? It's just like they're here to hear me and they've got my back. And so being able to having that provided was very healing for me. So I can imagine that holding space also creates bigger space to just be able to here I am. And what I have to bring is okay.
That's enough. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you are enough just as you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely.
So I also wondered about I don't know if I heard hesitation, but when do we start phase 3? When do we know we're ready?
Yeah. Well, because I think something that's where this is all kind of driving from is when I was doing the basic training, and like I went back and was talking to all my people in the group, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so impressed you got that far," and I was like, did I miss something? And so I think that's coming up for me here in this moment. And as I was filling out this form, like, am I missing something?
There's that third eye that's always looking for what I've done wrong.
It's keeping me safe, Linda.
There's got to be something.
There's something wrong here. I must be doing. But I missed.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Maybe you can give that third eye a name.
Third eye. I like the third eye though. Gives me quite the visual.
Yeah. Because you go and you do this great job and you get through the protocol and everybody goes, wow, I can't believe you got that far. And then that third eye is going, what did I do wrong?
We call it Cyclops. He's in the middle.
You know, like Gladys or, you know, or something that it would be, you know, something you could embrace and
Yeah, right.
love a little bit.
I guess Cyclops is a little bit. I don't think of a name.
Sometimes I don't know what's going to happen in phase 3 until I do it. I have to use my clinical judgment and then I ask my client. You know, so, you know, here's the deal. It's kind of, you may experience a large amount of emotion. And the goal is to just allow that to be present and move through you. It's different. Other therapy, the minute somebody starts crying, everybody focuses in and it's like, oh, okay, it's okay. No, breathe deep, take 4 deep breaths. We don't want you to have a panic attack. Oh, and EMDR, it's like, yeah, let that baby rip. So
let it rip, baby.
I talk to my clients about that. And it's like, you know, when you're ready, I'm ready. And we'll just see what happens. And you have your stop sign. So if you need to stop, we can stop. But I'll be right there with you. You know, I'm going to be right with you the whole way. Yeah. So it's a collaboration. It's not I think you're ready now for phase 3.
Okay. So that sounds like, I think that tells me, just kind of as you're going along with that kind of is validating to me, like, okay, I've been doing fine, because I've been able to feel like my clients, it seems like they're going to be fine. They're going to be able to handle this okay.
Right.
I can know that I'm with them, and I just try to reassure them, you know, hey, I just, you know, tears are welcome here, and they're healing tears, and just to kind of be with them.
The goal is to bring up that disturbance and allow it to get as big as it needs to be to pass through.
Right.
And so I'll be with you. You know, if you start feeling a lot of emotion, just know that we're going to just allow it to be here and let it be as big as it needs to be. And just because most people did never have that opportunity. As a child, they had to shut it down or push it out, you know. And so, wow, how much healing can happen when you can just allow that to be experienced in the body and it's, you know, it's like the gazelle that, you know, gets eaten by the tiger and lays dead. And then when the gazelle starts to wake up, it shakes, and it shakes violently and violently and violently. And then it's done. We don't get that opportunity as humans. We have a trauma and everybody's like, oh, you'll be fine. You're good. Okay, well, we'll do this. Yep. We just condense it down. If we could just let ourselves have you know, like animals do. And then the gazelle goes off grazing as if nothing's even happened. So this is kind of an analogy for what happens in EMDR when that emotion gets really big. It's doing what the nervous system needs to do to release that disturbance.
Right.
Animals do it naturally. We do not.
That's so interesting.
And can we hold space and be present for someone while they're experiencing that in whatever way they experience it?
Okay. I like that. Super helpful.
Okay.
In every moment, you have just the moment. When we try to predict, we try. And every moment we will have new information. So with the client, yeah, you staying present with the client is probably your best bet, right?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
if your gut feeling, your clinical judgment, and is, I think we can go in. Let's do that. And let's do that.
Good. Great.
All right, so let's bring ourselves to a point of closure for today and for our 5 sessions with Liz. I would just like to thank Liz for her wonderfulness, which I appreciate and have learned from and have been grateful for. And it's been really a privilege to have had you join me with this group. So thank you. I appreciate you. And I just am grateful for the time.
Linda, I really thank you for this wonderful experience. Be my mirror, be my resource person, be my container to hold things, and really deepen my own understanding, awareness, and guided me through this process to be a good consultant.
Yeah, which you are.
Couldn't have asked
Yeah.
any more and better. And you too. Such a privilege for doing this with you guys. And it's always so heartwarming to see you guys are how committed you are and how much you care and how good you are bringing this model to your clients.
Liz, I'm gonna miss you. I really appreciated the warmth. You bring this warmth. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. It feels like I can get vulnerable, and you bring that. And I'm noticing as we're saying bye, like I'm noticing like this excitement for whoever you're going to be working with next. Like they're going to be so lucky to have you because you do bring that warmth, and it's just part of who you are. It's that kindness, that compassion comes out. So just you being you, I really appreciate who you are. Thank you.
Thank you for all your kind words.
I just want to echo that. Liz, you do. You have this, you just showing up and bringing your presence and being you, like it is this, I can feel this warmth, this compassion, and this desire to support and care. And that creates that space for safety, like Clover said. It really does. And just feeling that, I feel like teachers, if they show that they care, then it's easy for the student to want to come and learn. It provides a great space for learning and growth. So thank you for being part of this with us so much. I've learned a lot from you.
Yeah.
You. Thank you. Thank you all for letting me join the party.
Party.
Well, Liz, I hope you know a couple of things. One is I believe you have a gift for the work. And that for me is very inspiring. I love to see that. So keep sharing your gift. And my door is always open to you for anything that you might need form-wise, question-wise, billing-wise as a consultant for PTI. I'm happy to share anything with you. And that door just stays open. So feel free to check back in.
My Dora even want to hug you.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
November.
Okay.
I think we're like on the 14th or something like that next month.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, the second week of November. I will see you then. It'll just be just lonely me.
We'll be happy to see you. We'll miss you, Liz. But we'll be great to see you, Linda.
Guys.
Okay, guys. I'll see you next month. And Liz, check back in.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.